What's good people, and welcome to episode 8 of It's Just Not Adding Up. Where do you define places in which you are not gonna bring your gay self? I'm OBO, and over the years I've noticed gay is a scary word for a lot of people, which is wild because it's just gay. But don't worry, I've decided to be your gay coach. Everyone's talking about equality and love, but I don't know, it's just not adding up. So last year there was a federal law passed making it illegal to fire someone on the grounds of sexuality or sexual identity. Which is cool, not knocking it, but isn't it kind of interesting that was necessary in the beginning? Like that has to be said? Like, hey, you can't fire someone for being gay. And you hear a lot of speech around people saying things like, it's none of their business at work, and it doesn't matter at work, or I show up to work black before gay, or show up to work, as a man before gay, and all these things. But think about how often gender is relevant in just our common speech. Pronouns like him, her. Personal story really quickly. I was at work, and it was the holiday season, and my boss just knew I had all the ladies. And so he asked me, he said, what are you getting her for Christmas? Like basically implying that I had her to get a gift for. And I said, him. And he looked like, what do you mean? And I said, it would be a him. And he's like, oh, okay. And he was cool with it. And I think that was the moment that kind of defined what I already thought it was. And in the workplace, I contend that it's not so much homophobia or it's not so much discomfort. I think people are afraid to touch gay in the workplace, whether it's because you think you'll be going to HR soon or whatever the reasons are. Likewise to how I think a lot of people treat black in the workplace, right? You don't know what will offend someone. You don't know how to handle someone. And for all people who have questions, you can direct them to my channel and we'll talk about it here. And trust me, I'm not making light of it. The workplace is interesting because being pacified is rarely covert. It's usually overt, right? You usually feel it. It's very hard to be subtle and pacify somebody at the same time. So one of my good friends, one of my good friends about 2 years ago made a post, and it was explaining the difference between tolerating someone and accepting someone. And the post said, tolerating you is inviting you to the party, but accepting you is asking you to dance.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
And I think that's what we're seeing in the workplace. It's like, yeah, you're here and it is what it is, but we don't feel comfortable dancing. We don't feel comfortable hitting the floor. I'm gonna actually even go on a ledge and say that the same associations people have with women leading may be very consistent with how they view gay people leading as well. Like we've seen a rise, of course, as women bosses. I've been in corporate for about 3.5, maybe 4 years now, and I've only had female bosses until last year. But again, I think there's still this assumption of this emotional attack at things. There's this assumption of you handling things with kid gloves because you're a female or because you're gay. I think people just don't want to deal with those things. So it's even more interesting that it might not be rooted in discomfort. It might not be, I don't want you to know I'm gay or I have an issue with being gay. It may be, I don't want to not be able to get ahead. It's not always, I don't like being gay, right? Or it's not always just that simple. Sometimes it's like, this it could be a hindrance. And I have the opportunity to put it on the back burner for people who are not in my personal life anyway. So instead of making allowances and things, I have to feel like, well, why not just ignore it? It's okay. Like I have to actually say it here, but then it's a slippery slope. Pretending to be things that you are not for one area rarely stays in that one area. It usually trickles over into other parts of your life, and then things get muddy.
Gotcha.
The biggest difference in the workplace and other common areas is money. We can't ignore that, right? So when you think about like your livelihood, sometimes it gets muddy about what you can put on the back burner to fulfill it. Because we often hear people equate sexuality with, I cover my tattoos when I go into the workplace. That's part of who I am. I do all these other things, and I think they're a little different. But again, we have these moments in which we pause who we are for the sake of a place. If you ask me, put that picture of you and your partner on your desk, use whatever pronouns you want, and go to work.
I like that.
I'll see you guys in the next episode. Keep creating space. Peace.